And there we are live on YouTube. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to um, our study deep dive into A Course in Miracles, our Saturday morning live group. And just so grateful to be here with us all. Um, I guess I will start. I will pray us in. Unless someone else would like to, I'd be happy if anybody else wanted to pray us in. It'd be awesome. Um, let's see here. Get my book up and ready. Um, all right, I will pray us in. Holy Father, brother, friend, I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent you who sent me. I don't have to worry about what to say or what to do because you who sent me will direct me. And I'm content to be wherever you wish, knowing that you go here with me, and I will be healed as I let you teach me to heal. Amen. All right. Not sure. I'm thinking we might be in paragraph 2 of text chapter 5, section 5, healing and wholeness. Section 7, the decision for God. So let's see, would anybody like to read? Let me look for.
Yes, I would.
Okay, great. Thank you.
There have been many healers who did not heal themselves. They have not moved mountains by their faith because their faith was not whole. Some of them have healed the sick at times, but they have not raised the dead. Unless the healer heals himself, he cannot believe that there is no order of difficulty in miracles. He has not learned that every mind God created is equally worthy of being healed because God created it whole. You are merely asked to return to God, the mind as He created it. He asks you only for what He gave, knowing that this giving will heal you. Sanity is wholeness, and the sanity of your brothers is yours.
All right, any thoughts about that?
It's all about surrender completely. The smartest thing you can do is turn it over.
Exactly. Let me see. I'm looking for the page in the book for Jack, who's in the Pal Talk room. Not even sure I have this. It's on page 89, Jack. 89. First, I start pulling out all my books. I have so many copies of different versions. All right, so there we go. So yeah, so he's talking really. This is chapter 5, or very early on, talking about healers who didn't heal themselves, and he says they have not moved mountains by their faith because their faith was not whole. And have not moved mountains because the faith was not whole. And so uh, um, some have healed the sick at times, but they have not raised the dead. And unless the healer heals himself, he cannot believe that there is no order of difficulty in miracles. And there we are back at that first miracle principle. Unless you heal yourself, that miracle principle has no meaning to you, none whatsoever. It could just as well be just words on a page, but no order of difficulty in miracles is the primary lesson that is being taught in this entire course. There is not one thing that is more or better than another. Robert asked the question a little bit ago about making this year different by making it all the same. When we're talking about making it all the same, we're recognizing that there is not one thing more valuable than another, not one person more helpful than another. There is not one that is worse than another. There's no hierarchy in illusions, no order of difficulty in miracles. It's all about it's all the same. Rafi, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Unless the healer heals himself. Everything out there is a reflection of myself. Everything out there is a mirror, a divine mirror. And it can't change, it can't heal unless I heal myself. Then the picture that I project will reflect that. And the more I stay firmly on track with that, the more assured I am that the only thing that needs to be healed is what I am, is all of the negativity, all of the beliefs, the stories, the concepts, the programs, and all that other stuff that's running through what we call our ego mind. Um, so that one sentence says it all, really.
Yeah, and it's all happening in my own mind. There's no place else that it can be happening. So this is kind of what Bruce and I were just reading the poem from Ken where he's talking about um, it's the guilt that I'm projecting onto my brother that's making it appear that we're not equal. But it's my own guilt that I'm projecting. And so here we go into this idea of equality. If we haven't learned that every mind God created is equally worthy of being healed because God created it whole. That is where we fall into so much trouble here in this world, is because we don't experience the equality. We don't allow the equality. We'll say, oh well, that he's not like me. They don't think like I do. They don't see things like I do. They haven't experienced what I have. That's a man. I'm a woman. I don't even know how men think. I'm not even sure that they do. Men are over there saying the same thing. Oh, women, I don't think they know how to think. Why? Why? Because of some small variation in our genes and in our body, so different as to be not even worthy of being uh, seen. And this is a decision I make every day. I make it every day at every occasion, every time I have any kind of relationship with anyone, whether it's I'm just meeting them on the street, I'm seeing them on the television, I'm hearing them on the radio, whatever it is, if I'm looking and seeing differences between us, then where's the problem? The problem isn't in you. You're not over here being, oh, I'm going to be different from you so that you'll never recognize that I'm the same thing as you are. You're not doing that. You're just over there being what you think you are. And I'm over here being what I think I am and making you what I think you are. And it's all about these differences that we're so caught up in 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 keeping us unequal. And that's why that question again, make this year different by making it all the same. The sameness is the thing. I see Sharon has her hand up and then Karen. Go ahead, Sharon.
Well, the thing that I see, is to not be identified as a body. So you don't see anybody else as a body. because it's guilt. As soon as I'm in form, I'm in guilt. It just happens that way, but it happens on an unconscious level. So when I see the Christ, which is all that's only here, that's the only thing that's here. And whatever the 10,000 things that are here, I kind of look at that and they're all made of the same thing. They're all made of consciousness, but I'm the higher consciousness, I'm the higher self. And I see us completely as this pristine presence. And staying out of guilt is realizing there is no form here. There's no form. And yet we see form, but we can see it in a different way through vision. That's all. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Sharon, because yeah, what does the Holy Spirit see? If I see
I
what the
see.
Holy Spirit
Right.
sees,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You don't see people. Because the person is always, and through the day, I forget and I'm back in the person and I can feel the difference. There's a
yeah.
difference. Um, it was such a good morning this morning. I just was listening to so many different reading the course and just realizing how grateful I am, how grateful we all are to know who we are, really, rather than to think that we're the small self. It's just a gift. I'm sorry for going on. Karen's hands up.
Yeah, go ahead, Karen. Thank you, Sharon.
Oh my gosh, Sharon, please do not apologize. Are you kidding me? I love when you share, and what you shared was so beautiful. And it is really about, not identifying with the body. Really, it really comes down to that. And then you said about form, and I always think of there's nothing so blinding as perception of form. It's so blinding, it's so deceiving. Um, and true happiness, you mentioned true happiness or true, you talked about gratitude, and love and gratitude go hand in hand. And true love, true gratitude, true happiness is really not of this world, is what we're learning. It's the changeless, not the body that's always changing all the time. It's changing all the time. Not only is my physical body changing, my thoughts and my ego mind are changing all the time. I also love what Lynn said about projecting. It's projecting guilt. And so we're either, projecting guilt or we're extending love. And there's no order of difficulty in miracles and no hierarchy of illusions. Comes back to the one problem. The one problem is that I'm projecting guilt. And the one answer is extending love. I mean, we could fill in the blank in any kind of similar equation to, being separate from God's love. And I also love here this, there have been many healers who did not heal themselves. What is our one responsibility? To accept the atonement for ourselves, as we all continually say. And I need to always be reminded that I need to heal my own mind. And then the world is healed. And they have not moved mountains by their faith because their faith was not whole. And moving mountains, I mean, like anything else in this course, he's talking about the mind. It's always going back to the decision-making mind, moving the outside, moving the what I think is the outside picture back, reversing that projection back into the inward condition, recognizing that I am responsible for what I see. I am projecting this. This is something I made up. It's not, it's like, it's my interpretation of what I'm seeing. It's not the truth of what's really being shown to us here. And I always need to be reminded of this because it's so easy to forget. I love this. I love this whole idea of no order of difficulty, no hierarchy. And then it brings me back to what Ken always says. I love and I share it all the time, but we all have the same wrong mind, right mind, and decision maker. And that is why there is no hierarchy there, because it's all the same. So I always say it was one of my biggest forgiveness opportunities with a brother, by recognizing that. That is what saved me, by seeing that what he did, I thought he was doing to me, He was not doing anything to me. He chose his ego, and I do the same thing. So therein forgiveness lies. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Karen. Yes. It is a lesson that is just over and over and over in this book. And we talk about it all the time. And, it is always, you really have to be vigilant only for God and his kingdom. You really have to be vigilant. And welcome, Jack. So the learning that all the minds are equal and all minds are worthy of being healed. This, just even knowing that, if everyone who practiced A Course in Miracles practiced that, not in the judging of other teachers, not in the judging of other students, not in the judging of who's reading which book, not in the judging of what political affiliation a person has, not in the judging of religion or culture or anything, just in the remembrance that we are equal, wholly equal sons of God, and everyone is worthy of being healed because they're it's the same thing. No one is unworthy. And it's so simple. He says, you are merely asked to return to God, the mind as he created it. Not with all the little bells and whistles that I added on to it to make it seem all pretty and fancy and smart and good. Just what it is that God gave me. And knowing that giving just that will heal me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. Karen, yes, please.
Thanks, Len. I love that you shared about the perfect equality, which is the big theme in this course. And it always reminds me of chapter 7, section 3, the reality of the kingdom, where he says only equals are at peace because God's equal sons have everything. They cannot compete. This is the idea of having and being are the same. We have the love of God. We never separated from God's love. We are the love of God. Yet, if they perceive any of their brothers as anything other than their perfect equals, the idea of competition has entered their minds. Do not underestimate your need to be vigilant against this idea. Just what Lynn was saying, be vigilant only for God and his kingdom, because all of your conflicts come from it. All of your conflicts come from it. It is the belief that conflicting interests are possible, and therefore you have accepted the impossible as true. Is that different from saying you perceive yourself as unreal? Oh my gosh. I mean, that is just, everything right there. And it is, Lynn, it's really remembering that we are all equal, as Sharon said, not in form, not identifying with the body, but in the truth of what we are. And we can see beyond that body, no matter what behavior seems to be going on, which there's a lot of behaviors going on out there that are very easy to judge and very easy to, and it's not that we're, the course teaches that. I know Bruce shared that earlier. We're not here to change our egos or stop our egos. We're here to look. We're here to look, and that is really what it comes down to when he talks about you can only find peace through complete forgiveness. So we're going to have these thoughts, but we forgive them. And that's it. That's our job here. That's our only responsibility. So it's so beautiful. And I just love to be reminded. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And you remind us of that every day. And this is why we love each other and join together, because we do, when one forgets, the other remembers for us. And Jesus says, yes, This is what we're here for, to help you to remember. So each and every one of us has a role, and we're all doing it for each other all the time. And so, yeah, thank you for that. And again, he says, sanity is wholeness, and the sanity of your brothers is yours. Again, why we don't look at our brothers and judge, or expect them to be different, or ask them to be different. You know, nobody needs to be different. I need to see them differently, because what the character is acting out in the world is not the brother. It's not the reality. What the character is acting out in the world is the dream. And, I can, bat, my head against the clouds all I want. Um, it's not going to make the clouds not obscure the sun. The sun is still shining, and everything I'm doing to try to get to it is just makes no sense. The sun hasn't changed. So let's see, who would like to read paragraph 3? Sharon, yes, ma'am.
Why should you listen to the endless insane calls you think are made upon you when you know the voice for God is in you? God commanded his spirit to you and asks that you commend yours to him. He wills to keep it in perfect peace because you are of one mind and spirit with him. Excluding yourself from the atonement is the ego's last ditch defense of its own existence. It reflects both the ego's need to separate and your willingness to side with its separateness. This willingness means that you do not want to be healed. Now, this is interesting because I would read this and really feel like I was failing, but the readiness wasn't there. And now I'm in a space of, spirit is the willingness, because only spirit can be willing, and ego's never willing. So when you're willing from spirit, you realize that you've had, you know, the gold in your pocket. It's like all this time we've had that light, but our stories were either too strong or, we had pain or whatever. But, when you get to a place when you realize how blessed we are to have this course and all of what it's saying, because we are really spirit. We already are spirit, and the doer is coming from spirit. It's God. So there's no doer or thinker. This is all just being done. It's a happening, and surrender's become easier for this mind because I realize I'm not there. It's just thought. So surrendering and not knowing is really the only place to be, to not know a thing. We all have opinions about what's going on in the world of form, but it's really a distraction. And I, for one, was getting into politics in the beginning of the year, and now the mind isn't interested in it at all. It's just not. It's phenomena, and the phenomena is there to distract us. You know, and as the character of Sharon, yes, she prefers a certain political whatever, but it doesn't matter because I don't know how one decides who they're voting for, because it's just these thoughts come in from the higher self. And if we accept these thoughts as us, we're in trouble because none of it's us. It doesn't matter where you are in the process or who you vote for or what you do for a living. Nothing matters. And I remember Lenny Rose saying this, Lynn, years ago. Only God matters. Nothing else matters. And he said that like 20 years ago to us. And I feel like that's it. You know, be one pointed, just want the love, because the love is really what's functioning through this whole dream. It's the only thing that's going to heal us, and it's the strength of God's grace that brings us to present moment awareness and just simply being. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Sharon. Yeah. And thanks for reminding me of Lenny. And I think about him often. Yeah, this whole idea of, uh, politics that I know we both got very interested in for a while. And it's just another ego ploy for keeping the differences going and keeping us caught up in the dream. And you can choose not to be caught up in the dream. And you know, it actually comes from not judging as good or bad people or their actions, not judging them. Um, we're not who's in a position to judge any of it. Karen, yes, please go ahead. And I see Jack has his hand up too. Go ahead, Karen.
Wow, that was great, Sharon and Lynn, both of you. And I love this first sentence. Why should you listen to the endless, insane calls you think are made upon you when you can know the voice for God is in you? Well, that's like a profound question. And they are endless, insane calls like every minute of the day. It's the ego's calling my name, but it's the voice for God. The Holy Spirit is always there. So I love that reminder. And I love what you both shared. And Sharon shared how blessed we are, to know the truth. And today I was saying, and I've said this a lot, and it reminds me kind of like AA. AA, they would say fake it till you make it. So I say to myself and out loud that I have more to be grateful for than complain about. When I find myself complaining about something, I just say it, whether I believe it or not in that moment. It's like, and it's not spiritual bypassing. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's remembering the truth. I have more to be grateful for than complain about. And Sharon reminded me of that. And then with the surrendering, she was reminding me that we don't know what anything is for, so how can I judge it? Like you said, Lynn, it's like these are things we all know, but we constantly need to be reminded. It's so easy to get sidetracked. And so what Lynn said too, which it just, when these things happen, like with what's going on in the world, seemingly going on in the world, it keeps us caught up in the dream more. I was thinking about how much more, or not even how much more, how much I do identify with the world, how much I do identify with the body and with form, and there is the opportunity for forgiveness. There is the opportunity to say, help me to see this differently, Holy Spirit. Not change. I don't need to change it. The course says, the ego is not to destroy, it is to release. We just release it, we let it go. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you remind me of that prayer. Help me to um, uh, change the things I can, or I forget exactly how it goes, but
The
it's the one that
serenity
the
prayer,
serenity
yeah.
prayer, yeah.
Yeah.
The things I don't, help me to just accept it, because I don't know. And that's really, if you could just be calm in the face of all of it and just let it be, because we're not going to change it. We're not going to change the world. The only thing that's going to change the world is the healing of the mind. And the only way the mind is going to be healed is when we stop injuring it, we stop hurting it, we stop making it sick, and accept it as the truth of what we are is the healed mind. The healed mind is what we really are. And Jack, please go ahead.
This session is over on the hour, is it not?
At half hour.
Okay, I'm at 12 noon. This is not over on the hour?
No, we're not over until 12:30.
Okay. All right. So what I want to say is a woman friend of mine invited me to an online group that was supportive toward my work. And after about 3 or 4 months, she started sending me emails attacking me. And by the way, I never responded to any of her attacks. And I think this actually made her madder. As we know from the course, if you don't respond to attack, the attacker disappears or gets upset. So she escalated and started to threaten me. She would say, if you don't do A, B, C, and D, there's going to be a lot of us in this group who are going to gang up on you and kick you right out. And so I didn't respond to any of that either. Now, the leader of this group, she was kind of like an assistant leader. The leader, was considering sharing some of this with him, but because I felt that he deserved to know what the inner content of some of his key people might really look like underneath the surface. But I had held back on doing that and decided to just allow this woman to continue her attacks and threats. She would make it very clear to me that not only was she unhappy with my behavior, my sharing, my contributions, but she said many other people are upset with me too. So I ignored all that. Finally, I stopped going to the group after a while. I've decided that attack is not real unless we defend, reattack, or even say something like, thank you. I mean, if you acknowledge the attack, you make it real. If you don't acknowledge it, the tree in the forest really didn't make a sound if nobody heard it, because the sound has to vibrate in the eardrum. So that was kind of a cute little story, because I never realized that this woman had this in her. And I used to know her when she lived in Philadelphia. She's in Long Beach, California now. So it was just an interesting little story. In the organizational development world that I work in, we call that kiss up and kick down. In other words, there are people out there, they schmooze up the ladder real well. And this, by the way, this woman was great at schmoozing right up the ladder. They loved her at the top. She was very political that way. But then with me, and it was kind of funny when I looked at it, because it was a great teaching device. She is my teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, that's a beautiful story. And I love that you didn't respond because, yeah, why? First off, you may have perceived it as an attack. She may have been, flirting with you. Who knows? And just because her thoughts are different than yours, which I'm just making a joke. That's a joke.
Well, she had a need to control me.
Right.
In other words, she brought me into the group, and she didn't want me to outshine her or outshine her boyfriend. There was a lot of control issues going on with her that caused her to treat me the way she did. Now, of course, I'm making that up right here now, aren't I?
Right.
But for me, the issues of her she's a very intellectual woman. She's written about 8 different books and all this, but her emotional development got waylaid probably back when she was about 8 years old.
Yeah, I know, and you might see that, and so yeah, and what can you do? There's no use of feeding into the attack, and there's only the use to just see her as innocent, and to see her, yeah, she is that 8-year-old, and which 8-year-old are you going to attack when they're saying silly stuff to you? It's just silliness.
By the way, let me just add that I asked her to meet me on a Zoom meeting. She would not meet with me. So in other words, the attacker, the beauty of the attacker and the metaphysical work of the Course is that the attacker is afraid of that with whom the attacker is attacking. We know that from the Course. So she was afraid to meet with me because she knows I would not go in there and fight with her.
I love it.
She would not meet with me. I got a kick out of that.
That's pretty funny. That cracks me up. Thank you, Jack. Rafi, please go ahead, and then Karen afterwards.
Yeah, Jack, a lot what I'm about to say is gonna echo what you said, because what you did was demonstrate perfectly the difference between ignoring, reacting, or non-reactive, just being the observer. That was perfect, because what I saw was, why don't you listen to me? Why don't you do things my way? I can't stand that. Aren't you paying attention to me? What am I going to do? Kill you to get your attention? God, and that's all wanting control. And that's what she felt that. So I just, when it comes up for me, I just welcome the non-control feeling, and you welcome it up, and they all come up to leave, and I let go of the wanting control, and then all of a sudden, there's the peace that we really are. So, gee, that was idyllic. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah, that
Thank
is
you.
pretty
Yes.
funny. Yeah, thank you, Rafi. Exactly. And yeah, whoever's attacking, whenever I feel attacked, no one else can attack me, so it's me attacking myself in some way. So I can look at all those things, and it's a great classroom. Karen, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. I agree with what Rafi said, and I love the way you handled it. And I was in a similar situation, and this is what taught me really about forgiveness. And this is what taught me that, you know, you said something very interesting, and I thought the same thing. You said you never knew this woman had this in her, right? Well, we all have the same ego. We all have the same wrong mind, right mind, and decision maker. So she just chose her ego. There is no, unless the healer heals himself, he cannot believe that there is no order of difficulty in miracles. He has not learned that every mind God created is equally worthy of being healed because God created it whole. So this woman chose her ego, and you saw it, and you saw beyond it, and you were able to be in a position where you didn't react to it, which is above the battleground, which is exactly where we want to be, which is beautiful. So your mind is healed, and that when we are here, we are not healed alone. So you were also teaching her. She may have been your teacher, but you were also her teacher. So this is a great demonstration that there is no order of difficulty in miracles, and we are all the same. And yeah, she just chose her ego. That's all. It's nothing personal. We don't have to take it personal. We can make all and you even said, well, this is the story I'm saying, I'm telling. It's always our interpretation that wants to come in, but it never has anything to do with us. And that's what the course is teaching us. It's about, we are all here. My only responsibility is to accept the atonement for myself. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. Yeah, perfect. And yeah, it's all about me. I was just
Can I
listening
add
to
a
you.
caveat?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Lynn? I eventually did talk to the head of the group, who was a professor at a major university in the PhD program of organizational development leadership. So when I told him, he has all these models of how you de-escalate, attacking and defending, and because he is who he is, he's got all these models. And I told him, I said, David, if you never acknowledge attack, you never have to de-escalate. And he said to me, he said, well, you could at least say thank you to her for her words to you. And I said, no. To say thank you is to validate the attack. And eventually he agreed with me. But he's a guy in the PhD program of a major university that's all about the interactions of people in organizations and how to de-escalate attacks and duality issues around, no, she did it. No, you did it. But he doesn't have the Course in Miracles. And I was just trying to show him that if you don't acknowledge attack with even a thank you, I would never think about defending myself. That's a weakness. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. My invulnerability is in the guiltlessness of me as a human.
Yeah. I
But
love that.
I did have that little interaction with the head guy. Very smart man.
Yeah. And if he didn't see it and if it hadn't happened, I mean, honestly, when we have people in these groups that tend to want to be um, uh, controlling like that, it's pretty obvious to everyone in the group, whether they acknowledge it or not. So I'm sure he was well aware of that particular tendency on her part. And so when you mentioned it, I'm sure it was no surprise at all. Uh, and that's okay. And maybe he may have thought it would be good to say thank you, but yeah, there's no point in reacting to something that hasn't it actually hit, or even if it has hit, there's no point in reacting because you just make it give it more power and make it real. Karen, yeah, please
That's
go ahead.
right.
Yeah, well, there's another thing that's come into my mind in this situation that the course teaches us, and there is full appreciation for our brother, gratitude for. You don't have to say thank you to her because there is no her out there. This is healing. We're healing our own mind, So it's that gratitude. Thank you, because we talked about in the earlier, before you got here, Jack, that, this, everything is an outside picture of an inward condition. It's we're either projecting guilt or we're extending love. So thank you for showing me myself. Thank you for being my savior. You were my savior. You were my teacher, as you said earlier. She was your greatest teacher. So, and you don't have to say a word to her. This is for your own healing, and like that's what I did with this brother who did the same thing to me, basically. I was able to thank him, and I was able to come to a true forgiveness with this person. So it's not that's, to me, that's not making it real. Making it real would be to react and lose my peace over it and blame that person for me losing my peace. That's making it real, which you did not do. So there's a little bit of a difference there for me. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. And I don't know if you wanted to respond to that, Jack. I see you have your hand up, and Mickey has her hand up
Can I
also.
just make a real comment on that?
Yeah, yeah,
Saying thank you gives the attacker energy that you acknowledge her and that you read what she attacked you about. So I would never say thank you, although I do appreciate her as my teacher. But I would never say thank you because to me that validates the attack.
No, I would never say it to the person. I said never to the person. This is for yourself, your own mind. The
Okay,
gratitude. Yeah, I would
all right.
never say it to the person. Yeah, so I don't know if you
I
heard me say that.
misunderstood you. I have
Yeah.
an echo because I'm still on. Well, I'm still on ACIM gather. I have an echo, so I didn't hear it all right.
Oh no, I'm in
I
total
can't
agreement
figure
with
out
you
how to
on.
turn off my ACIM gather.
yeah. Jack was listening on Pal Talk, so he didn't have the link to come in. I forgot that that's not evident. Let's see. Thank you again, Jack and Karen. Good conversation. And Mickey, please.
So I've found this whole conversation really interesting, especially in regard to the gratitude aspect. And we're not grateful to the person. We're grateful for the opportunity to look at it, and we're grateful that we made the decision not to defend. We're grateful for the right mind that came to the fore so that we could see the rightness of not defending. And and so that it's like if somebody throws a rock at you, but it misses by 20 feet, do you have to defend against that rock? You see that rock coming towards you, and it's a half a block away from you, and you watch it go by you, and you go, oh, will you look at that? You know, I don't have to defend against that rock, and I don't have to be angry at the person because clearly they weren't really meaning to hit me, or they would have become closer than a half a block away. You were just grateful that, oh, look, right mind came to the fore. And that's the gratitude part of it. And I love being reminded that we really do not have to defend. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that too, Mickey. And it just reminds me of the very first sentence here. Why should you listen to the endless, insane calls you think are made upon you when you can know the voice for God is in you? And yeah, why should you listen to that bull crap? The listening and paying attention makes it real in the mind, and then we want to just defend. And so don't even listen. No need to respond. No need to duck. Whack, whack. All right. Let's go on to paragraph 4. Who would like to read paragraph 4?
Can I read?
Sure.
Okay. Thanks for allowing me to be here with you guys.
Oh, you're welcome any time, Jack.
But the
Well,
time
oh,
is now.
yeah, the time is now.
You have not been asked to work out the plan of salvation yourself, because as I told you before, the remedy could not be of your making. God himself gave you the perfect correction for everything you made that is not in accord with his holy will. I am making his plan perfectly explicit to you, and I will also tell you of your part in it and how urgent it is to fulfill it. God weeps at the sacrifice of his children who believe they are lost to him.
What are you thinking about that? God all weeping and all. Uh, I think, people have been really confused about this. But you notice he puts the quote sacrifice in there because it's not even really sacrifice. And it's our belief that we're lost to God. We're the ones who are weeping. We're like, oh my God, where are you? But but here we are. Rafi, yes, please go ahead, and then Karen.
Yeah, thank you for what you just said, Lynn, because it was a great preamble to what I got. It said that the sentence says that God weeps at the sacrifice of his children. God is the universal love. You think the universe weeps? Okay, so the only thing that can be weeping is what we think we are. And we're saying it's God because we're looking at God as like a magical figure in the sky instead of the vastness of infinite possibilities, endless, infinite love, imperturbable peace that surpasses all understanding, that divine bliss. That's the reality. And so I thought, that's perfect. There's the ego trick right there. Blame somebody else. Say it's somebody else. Let's blame it on God. Let's say God is doing that. Excuse me, God don't do, God is.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Rafi. And yeah, that would be a pretty weak God if I could hurt his feelings like that. So it can only be me that's feelings got hurt. Karen, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I really love this paragraph because it's reminding me of what we were sharing yesterday. Gloria brought it up about surrender, how she said Helen didn't like the word surrender and it's not in the course. And this whole paragraph to me is about surrendering and trusting. You have not been asked to work out the plan of salvation yourself, because as I told you before, the remedy could not be of your making. God himself gave you the perfect correction for everything you made that is not in accord with his holy will. I am making his plan perfectly explicit to you, and will also tell you of your part in it and how urgent it is to fulfill it. God weeps at the sacrifice, in quotes, because we all know there is no sacrifice in love, of his children who believe they are lost to him. Now, every time I see this metaphor, I think of Ken Wapnick, because Ken Wapnick describes this weeping. God weeps as God's love for us, because he, in our, for us to understand this, that no, God doesn't weep. No, God is not a physical form. He has no eyes or hands or feet, but we see that it's his love for us, that, he just wants us to remember our oneness, remember the truth of what we are, and to ask the Holy Spirit in our mind, who is the correction for everything. And it just reminds me also in chapter 4, it's chapter 4, section 7, creation and communication, where he talks about this a little bit. And for me, it just reminds me of it, that the Bible repeatedly states that you should praise God. This hardly means that you should tell him how wonderful he is. He has no ego with which to accept such praise, and no perception with which to judge. But unless you take your part in creation, his joy is not complete, because yours is incomplete. So he's saying the same thing. And this he does know. He knows it is his own being, capital O, capital B, and its experience of his son's experience. The constant going out of his love is blocked when his channels are closed, and he is lonely when the minds he created do not communicate fully with him. So again, another metaphor reminding us how God, just like in the Song of Prayer, how the Son sings to the Father and the Father sings to the Son, and how we are in total communication all the time. He just wants us to remember that. And it's just beautiful poetry, metaphor that he speaks to us in. And I just think it's beautiful. Thanks.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, because who's really lonely? That he's just pointing it out to us. God is lonely without us, because we're lonely without God. And that the part of us that is God is lonely, because we're missing all of ourself, the rest of ourself and our Father. So I love that. And he does kind of make it seem like it's a personal thing, but really it's not at all. It's like I'd be lonely without my left arm, if it was gone, you know, or my eye, I lost my eye. I have no vision in my right eye. I'm lonely without that eye. Um, and doesn't mean anything is really missing at all, because the eyes don't see, the ears don't hear. Anyway, thank you for that, Karen. And Jack, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really taken by the line about God weeps at the sacrifice. We know there is no such thing as sacrifice. And it's interesting because, when I'm with my Christian friends, or any of my friends really, and they believe in sacrifice, and you can see how they believe in sacrifice, and they also think sacrifice is part of what makes God love them more. And I'm thinking, how can I possibly help this person to get past that? But because sacrifice in and of itself is from the ego and is not real. So for God to weep at people deciding on sacrifice, it's like that person in some way is lost to him, as it says right here. But in my own life, I see how sacrifice miscreates suffering for other people in their world, and they think it's actually something that's good for their salvation.
Yeah, and think about it. Sacrifice really, I think, means to make sacred. Um, so that's the reality of it is. Let me look it up here really quickly. Ooh, first thing, this is from Copilot. So the act of slaughtering an animal or person or surrendering a possession as an offering to God or to a divine or supernatural figure, sacrifice. Um, so that's interesting. I always thought it just meant to make it sacred, because that seems like the root of the word. But that also might be that particular dictionary. The meaning of sacrifice is the act of giving up or losing something of value for the sake of something else. So,
Yes.
giving up something of value for the sake of something else. Um, Interesting. Let's see. Karen has her hand up, and oh, there's Regis. Hey, buddy. Go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. And the course, when it speaks about sacrifice, it's talking about a lot of times one or the other. Like one of the places in the uh, teacher's manual, we're at teacher's manual in the, I forget where it is. It's all the way in the back. My mind just went blank. Um, where he says, kill or be killed. Like that's the ultimate sacrifice. And so the other thing that came to me, Jack, when you were speaking is, I always like to remember whenever the Course puts a word in quotes, God weeps at the sacrifice of his children. That means it's not true. Whenever it's in quotes, that means it's not really true. Just like he does that with the dynamics of the ego. He has a dynamics in quote because the ego has no power. So that's something that I like to remember. And the other thing that came to me with all of this, that he talks about how, he speaks to us in a language we can understand in the condition that we think we're in. So while we all think we're still a body here, he speaks to us on that level that he thinks we can understand. So it's all a metaphor, a lot of it, and it's just all so beautiful. I just love it. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification, Karen. And yeah, the quotes almost mean like he's kind of even laughing about it. Sometimes I think, Jesus is laughing when he's reading because yeah, what are we sacrificing? We're actually living in hell right now. Um, and I'm speaking for myself, living in hell right now. And why wouldn't God weep that, I choose to live in a place where there's fear and judgment and war and death and sickness and starvation and all the things that he says the Holy Spirit's going to laugh about and would teach you how to laugh about this stuff. And the fact that I think that I'm victim to it, I'm sacrificing to it, and not even recognize that it's not the case, and this really is heaven. That's a sacrifice. That's not so good for me and not so helpful. Anyway, Regis, please go ahead, my friend.
Hello, my friend and friends with an S. Let's see. So, yeah, Karen, you definitely uh, picked up on what I was about to say, first of all and foremost, about the quotation marks with sacrifice. So, Karen already spoke to that. And Lynn, your definition was actually right on of sacrifice that you read. Um, so, in truth, of course, the course is saying there is no sacrifice. But if God is the ocean, and I think I'm a ripple in the ocean, and I refuse to believe or accept, not even believe, if I refuse to accept I am the ocean, I just want to dig my heels in and say, I'm a ripple, I'm separate. The ocean is, the waves are overtaking me. I'm scared. I'm a ripple, and the waves are bigger than me, the ocean is bigger than me, and I'm separate from all of it. So, in that sense, his children believe they are lost to him. So, that sacrifice, that definition that you read, is just simply saying, I am giving up the truth of who I am to be a ripple in the ocean. And that causes God, in the human sense, to weep. The only place in the Bible, the most famous and the shortest verse in the Bible in the New Testament, is Jesus wept. Now, people have wrongly misinterpreted that to believe that he was weeping, oh, because he loved Lazarus so much, and they had and Lazarus was, quote unquote, was dead. But he was weeping because all of the people who were saying Lazarus was dead and it was hopeless, he wept because they didn't realize the truth of who they were. That's why he wept. The Christians in traditional religion has interpreted that to, at times, think, oh, Jesus felt so sorry for them and they were so mournful. No, he wept for the same reason this is saying God weeps right here, because we don't realize and almost refuse to realize the truth of who we are. And I've sacrificed being the ocean to be a ripple. Take it away, Karen.
Yeah, right on, Regis. And before you came in here, we were sharing about that exact thing that, what Ken Wapnick says whenever I see God weeps, Ken Wapnick says, look at God weeps as if that's God's love, because because it's about the oneness. It's about, he wants us to remember the truth of what we are, our oneness. His love is so great that he weeps that you've forgotten. God's will is that you are his son. So that's what we were sharing before you got here. So you're right on, Regis, and I'm so glad that you joined in that and reaffirmed it. And I love the ripple in the ocean part of it that you shared was so right on and perfect. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Regis. Thank you, Jack. Let's see who all is here. Close down this chat so I can look. Deb, Elizabeth, Karen, Mickey, Rafi, Regis, and Sharon. I love you all, and I'm so grateful for you being here. Jack, if you can look on our schedule, I can I think I have your email address. I will email you the schedule so you can see when to come in, because we have meetings all the time, every day but Wednesday. So, and Jack is asking who's going to NYU on April the 9th. I don't think any of us are. I think Dove was going to, but he broke his foot. And so uh, he's walking with uh, boot right now.
When did he break his foot?
When he hit his head and hurt his eye, and
Oh, I didn't know his foot was broken. So he's not going to Allen's today either, right?
probably not. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
had a broken foot once. That takes a while to heal.
yeah, but he's been in a boot for a while.
Yeah,
So
that's what
so
I
yeah,
didn't
he's
know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, he's been a limping around. Karen, did you want to say something more?
Yeah, I think Dove is going. I was actually talking to him, and I think he is going today. And that's what I just wanted to mention, Lynn, if you wanted to put the link in for anybody who wants to go at 1 o'clock. If you
Okay.
have the link, if you have the link.
Yeah, I think it's the one that Vicky sent me, I think. Let me look. The
Yeah, that
people
Vicky
that
made all these desserts. It looks so beautiful.
yeah, oh, Vicky makes the greatest desserts.
But she had a
Uh,
restaurant, she's pretty good at this stuff.
oh my gosh. Yeah, when I stayed at Vicky's house, I was like, oh my Lord. I learned how to make baklava from her. And it's so simple. And it's just so lovely. So let me throw this in here. Here's the link.
I think Brooklyn's going too, right?
I don't
And
know.
Glorian is going. Yeah, because she asked
No,
me.
I don't think Glorian's going in person. She's going to go to the Zoom, but I mean in person. I think Brooklyn's going. I think I might be wrong, but I thought
Well,
Brooklyn was going in person.
oh, I'd